Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we are just going to talk about Destiny, Marathon, Bungie in general, and kind of where I'm going with the channel past the kind of update video I had a couple days ago. So yeah, we're just going to be kind of freeforming this, so sorry if there's some ums and ahs and losing my train of thought, that type of thing. But yeah, so I just kind of want to talk about what's going on and just kind of like really talk about this because it's just ridiculous. So yeah, we'll start with Destiny and kind of leading up until, Marathon, talking about Marathon and what's kind of coming next, that type of thing. So, had some, good expansions. We got up to Witch Queen, very good expansion. You know, we kind of fell into a good rhythm. Lightfall came out, a little bit of a stumble, but, all in all, kind of similar, just Destiny. Final Shape came out, very good, very awesome. Had its post, seasons, and they were just okay. Not the greatest, but they weren't terrible. Edge of Fate hit, and just from there, just went bloop all the way down. It was a miss, and they at this point did not give two shits about the game. It's evident in the way the game feels. You notice a shift from even Final Shape to Edge of Fate, where it's just like the game feels so much different. Quality wise, it just goes downhill. And then Renegades came out, and as much as I hate the inspired by Star Wars story, that type of thing where it's like not its own game, right? It brought some players back. It felt okay. It felt a little bit better, but it it has received no actual support. We just got Iron Banner that we didn't know when it would be coming, and it was bugged. And there's just so many issues with the game that and we've been in the dark for so long. For about 2 months, all they've been saying is wait until June, wait until June, wait until June, wait until June. Where there's big updates coming, this big delayed updates coming, which from what we understand now about it is some Pantheon 2.0, which is just old content. Raids and dungeons getting refreshed with tiered gear and weapons. Once again, very cool stuff that should have been in the game when the tiered system came out, you know. And balance changes, that type of thing. So from what we understand now, not actual new content. I'm sure there will be, but it's not going to be enough. They have basically abandoned this game and put it on life support since Marathon came out. They put every single one of their eggs in the Marathon basket, and it has not panned out. Already, already are people bitching and moaning about Marathon past, just the normal, right? It started out pretty strong, and I mean, in terms of players, tanked pretty quick. Obviously, player metrics doesn't really mean too much, but is already tanked quite a bit here, as you can see. And I feel like this is only going to go down now that all the content has been explored and played. Obviously, they're also having a new update, I believe, in June. Competing with its other game, by the way. They're competing against themselves, which is crazy. Though, to be fair, I don't think there's too much overlap in terms of Marathon and Destiny players, just because, one, they're two different games, and I don't think a lot of Destiny players are too fond of Marathon anyway, so, not a lot of overlap, but still, it's kind of funny. But I already see people complaining, and now I'm gonna pull up a Twitter post here, not because the person I necessarily agree with their opinion, but because they have it all condensed, all the screenshots condensed, so I could just see it. I kind of agree with this take. I don't like this guy. He doesn't play the games and he just bitches and moans about them, but he did pull up all these of all the bigger Destiny / Marathon streamers kind of talking about how bad Cryo Archive was. If you don't know, Cryo Archive is the like penultimate map for Marathon, where it's like got raid like mechanics and puzzles, and it's where you bring all your best gear and stuff like that. And it's kind of become, especially after they nerfed knives and what are they called, and shotguns, it's become just like a grenade spam, ability spam kind of meta, which is funny considering how bad Destiny is. Just ignore the fucking, this guy just yaps and yaps and yaps. I don't like him, but regardless, yeah, so Grenader Jake, talking about it. We've got Gary Drewski. I love and play Marathon more than most that I know. However, this week has really burnt me out. Should things not improve by Tuesday, I feel like I'm left with the painful decision to stop putting in as much playtime. And I think Salt de Grepo always has interesting takes here, and a lot of people aren't agreeing with his. But still, you can see that the sentiment is not good for Marathon now, and you could just say, oh, that's just the streamers who play, 8-hour plus days in the game, that know life the game, it's their job. But the thing about them is once they move on to a different game or say that the game is bad, the people that follow them that don't form their own actual opinions about what they're playing are just gonna be like, oh, my favorite streamer, oh, this guy thinks it's bad, so it must be bad, I'm not gonna play. So it's just gonna drop even more, which is, on top of the actual problems that there are with Destiny, is also a contributing factor to why it has no players, is because a lot of the streamers and YouTubers are moving on from it. So a lot of the players that watch them move on from it. It's just how it is. That's how the group think happens, right? And as stupid a lot of the time as it is, that's just how it is. So it hurts the game, obviously. But I also just I agree with a lot of the takes where it's just like, it's, in my opinion, I don't have a lot of fun with the game anyway. Before, a lot of these like high-end nerfs for, whatever. And it's just more things to alienate casuals from the game with these nerfs. And obviously it's just like ability spam central now, from what I understand. I can't speak on it too much because I don't play a lot of Marathon, and I've only done Cryo Archive once, so I don't really see the full picture, but that's just what I've seen and heard, is kind of that type of sentiment. So why is this a problem? Why is Bungie putting all their eggs in the Marathon's basket and it kind of flopping a problem, besides the obvious, right? Obviously, game's not doing good. It's not going to be good for either game or the company itself, or Sony is going to be pissed, that type of thing. Well, there is this Forbes article by Paul Tassi here talking about how more Bungie devs are working on Marathon than Destiny 2, just kind of leading on to what I was already saying, which was we are all kind of new. We all kind of knew. Sorry, I went kind of weird there. Anywho, but yeah, so this is just a quick article. We'll just read this part right here. Marathon can use to try to retain and attract players. With Bungie launching the game a month ago, and Sony is eyeing to see if it can break PlayStation's recent live service curse. But Bungie's primary live service, Destiny 2, is fading quickly with a lack of updates, and may not surprise you that Destiny 2 is in fact not Bungie's primary live service anymore. My sources at Bungie confirmed to me that while previously Destiny had fairly significant edge in devs working on the game, now of the 800 or so remaining on Bungie is more evenly split, with Marathon now edging over Destiny 2 by a bit, though previously the two games shared some amount of logistic support within Bungie. So yeah, so just based off of that, without reading further, just that alone is concerning, because like we were just discussing, people are not playing the game as much. There's not anything to do. It's got a boring, stagnant meta, which is important for a PvP game. The PvE, in my opinion, is boring. We'll talk more about like what I think of Marathon later. So in June we're getting a update, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Even if it's a new map, new guns, that type of thing, it's gonna be figured out quick. It doesn't have enough content to sustain itself. And like I said, we'll get more into that later. But yeah, so the issue is pretty clear to players looking at both games. That is, Marathon is a game with 4 maps and 6 classes currently, while Destiny 2 has been previously sustained by a constant stream of PvE content and some PvP content. Which, and PvP content, which had fallen by the wayside much more before this, with much of that team heading to Marathon. So PvP has been bad in Destiny for a long time, and that is partially because, one, it always had been kind of meh, but obviously a lot of the people have gone to Marathon, and once again, as we keep saying, Marathon isn't doing well, so both games are suffering. And then yeah, like it says down here, Destiny 2's PvE content has dried up for months now, and there's another month and a half before anything of significance is added to the game at all in its mid-season update. But after that, there will be at least 3 more months until one of Destiny 2's smaller expansions, which is on the size of Edge of Fate or Renegades, just a little campaign and, maybe like a repeatable seasonal content patch, that type of thing. But yeah, so we're not gonna, even with this June update coming for Destiny, it's not going to be any actual content that is going to be meaningful unless it's, we get lucky and it's something like Into the Light. And even then, I don't think nowadays that's going to sustain anyone, right? Because the thing with Into the Light is, one, it was different, fresh for the time, and good, right? And it came out right before Final Shape in kind of the lull, because I think that it got delayed. And people were like, okay, we can get this gear for Final Shape and whatever comes next. Or, or we're just going to get the rest of this gear for Final Shape and quit. Right? So people were playing that for that. Nowadays, if they had something like that, or even the things that we are getting, Pantheon 2, people don't give a shit about that because, one, the big end of whatever story is already done with the Witness or whatever. And people may not care about the new story. And Bungie has been so neglectful to Destiny. Why would we grind for gear that we're not going to use or even want in our vault? Like, there's no point. So that's kind of the issue. Unfortunately, Bungie also kind of shot, and this has been talked to death, so I'll just mention it quick. They shot themselves in the foot with Final Shape being like, it's the end of this 10-year journey, this 10-year story, and not immediately being like, okay, here's Destiny 3 coming out here, or that type of thing. We just kept going with the same game and not having which can be fine, but they didn't have a lot to bridge that gap. It doesn't really seem like it's at all connected. It just seems like it's like, okay, business as usual. There's no good reset to the story in any way. So unfortunately, they kind of shot themselves in the foot where it was good, but it wasn't good enough for people to be like, okay, I'm ready for the next thing, right? Or ready for Destiny 3, that type of thing. So obviously that doesn't help either. The news that more and more resources and personnel are being switched to Marathon may not be the biggest shock, but it is the first time I can confirm such a change compared to the last we've heard about this. So yeah, it's just kind of confirmed now that that is what's happening. The question now is, if more will move over once Marathon settles. It may swing back towards an attempt to revive Destiny 2, but the idea that around 400 people can sustain Destiny 2, a game that used to have almost the entirety of Bungie's 1,000 plus staff working on it in some capacity feels like a stretch. And Sherm seems like we have even less than 40% of the content we used to have at Destiny Speak. So yes, I agree with that. I don't think the people that are working on the game now, even if they brought everyone back from Marathon, like, they're like, fuck it, Marathon's terrible, we're shutting it down, we're gonna work on Destiny 2. I don't think that even would be enough, honestly. They've kind of screwed themselves. They really banked on Marathon being a bigger hit and they'd be able to tank the loss from Destiny and just kind of abandon it, but it didn't happen. Because Marathon's just not that good. It's just, I mean, to be frank, and I mean, that's just not just me talking out my ass. You can see it in sentiment and player count and just the opinion going around about the game and just the gaming landscape in general, to be frank, because how a lot of games work these days, unless it's got constant update every week, every 2 weeks, every month, that type of thing, people just move on. And even some games like that, they just move on. It is a consumer-led, I mean, every industry is a consumer-led, but, like, it's very, I should say more like streamer-focused than it has been before, where it's like, oh, I'm going to move, the streamer's moving on to the new game because there's a sponsorship or they want to play it, whatever reason, and everyone follows that streamer. That's just how it is. It's dumb. It's just how it is. Or a game gets really popular for really quick. Actually, I will Now this may not be. Oh, I put in the fucking. There we go. This may not be a super relevant thing, but this Winrose game just came out. It's a survival game. It's got a load of players. It's maintained a load of players. This did just come out though, but you can see that it has a big uptick. Now, this may not happen to this game, right? But right now it is doing very good. There's a lot of people covering, a lot of people playing it, right? But I would hazard a bet a lot of people, this will drop off a little bit because one, I do think it is a very solid game, but that's just how it is. A lot of people play it for the initial bit and then they move on, and you can't really blame anyone for that. But that's just how it is, right? But unfortunately, that is just not healthy for games a lot of the time, and developers see that and they abandon the game, or do what Destiny or Bungie is doing and just up and basically abandon, but be like, oh, stuff's coming, and nothing ever comes. So unfortunately, yeah. What can they do to change this? Well, they could get more people to work on the games, for starters, people who actually care, that aren't out of touch with what people want, or not screw over the people and the game that they've been working on for fucking 10 years, right? It is insane to me. They have a cheat code in Destiny 2. It is a MMO looter shooter that feels amazing to play, that has good PvP when there's actually people who understand their shit working on it. I am blown away that they have fumbled this game as bad as they have. Destiny should have been the easiest gaming slam dunk in history. This game had so many players, not just Destiny 2, but Destiny 1. All they had to do was lock in and actually make sensible changes, and this game would be crazy. It has everything for everyone. It is an MMO, as PvE that's challenging, that people like. It's got PvP, first person shooter PvP that people die for, and it feels good. People would get in and grind. That's what they did in Destiny 1. The true end game of Destiny 1 was PvP. You would do all the raids, do all that shit to get gear, to show it off in Crucible, to go to Trials of Osiris and play. And guess what? Trials of Osiris was running Twitch when it first came out into Taken King, even into some Rise of Iron from what I remember. It was running the fucking show. And they just threw that away. Destiny 2 didn't get Trials of Osiris. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Trials of Osiris until deep into year 3, year 2, or something like that, which was the craziest thing. So they had Trials of the 9, but it was ass. It was so bad because the PvP. Whoever made the double primary meta in Destiny 2 killed that game out the gate. I won't even lie. That lost so much momentum for them. It was insane. I mean, we've all seen that thing where God, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but it's that clip of that Bungie higher up, was Justin Truman, I think, saying that they were weeks away from closing down Destiny 2 in Curse of Osiris, which was Destiny 2's first expansion, because it was just no one was playing. It was such a bad time for the game that they were close to shutting it down. And part of that is it was half-baked content, but another part of that, I seriously believe, is just how bad the new weapon and ability system was compared to Destiny 1. It was such a downgrade, right? And then Forsaken came out. Obviously, things got better and had a better steady player count, and now we're back at this oh shit time where, I mean, you can see even on Steam what's going on. There's no one playing the game, right? And it's basically radio silence. So yeah. And then obviously I don't even know with Marathon. I mean, Marathon's barely doing better, right? By barely an amount, excuse me. So it's just kind of a thing where you gotta, they have to just lock in, but they don't. Historically they've locked in when they need to, in terms of right before Witch King came out, it's good, and then Final Shape comes out, it's good. Forsaken came out in the worst possible, time, or the best possible time for them, right? Because everything was going to shit. Bungie doesn't really do that anymore. They don't lock in like that. It's just been shit after shit after shit update for both games at this point, and they're just hemorrhaging new and old players because they don't have onboarding and they don't have a way to retain old players. Now we're going to talk about Marathon in general. I kind of talked about this in my previous video. I don't really like this game. I don't find it overly appealing. I like the gunplay. I like the character design and all the art and stuff like that. I like the sound array. So all the normal shit that Bungie Destiny does amazing. You know, art, sound, character design, armor, that type of thing. For the most part, armor. But in this game, just looks fantastic. No pay to win bullshit. It's, you know, just skins in the cosmetic shop. The gunplay feels good. It's where everything else is just boring and bad. I think the meta has been bad even before they nerfed the shotgun and shit. It's worse now. Obviously, it was just nade spam. I don't think the PvE is at all interesting. All the missions you do, or whatever they're called, contracts, they are literally Destiny patrols. Now, I'm not saying it needs to have something crazy because it is a shooter, or, you know, a PvEVP game. So, like, obviously, if you had too much of an in-depth questing system, it would be really irritating to, you know, get on a quest and then die halfway through it and then you have to restart it or something. That would be irritating. But you can have like persistent quests that you can go in and like chip at, right? Like it's just boring. It's literally like go stand here, scan this thing type gameplay. It's mind-numbingly boring. Doesn't help that the PvE enemies are the same way, where they are literally just bullet sponges that will like 2-tap you with blue shield, right? Like my full shield and like like 2/3 of my health should not be clapped away with one burst of a PvE enemy's like burst or whatever. It's super annoying when you're in the middle of a fight too. When that happens, it's like, okay, well, I'm just getting like basically third partied. It's ridiculous. They should not do nearly as much damage as they do, unless they're like the higher variants, like, you know, gold, purple shields. It should scale with the, you know, amount of, or like the threat. It also doesn't help that there's no unique way to kill them either. All of them with shields, with, you know, the little flying dudes that stick to you and slow you down or whatever, they all die the same way. They are bullet sponges. They have one crit with a shield or not. They have shields and you just lay on the trigger. There's no variation. That's the one thing I like about Arc Raiders. And I'm trying not to compare it to Arc Raiders because it's such a different game. But in terms of the PvE, and well, it's not like crazy depth in Arc Raiders, it's enough depth that it is good, or, you know, it's better, or, you know, you're shooting on armor plating or different locations, or, you know, you have to take with different types of ammo takes care of different ones better, that type of thing. Marathon has none of that. It's the same bullet sponge enemy that we've had in Destiny for the past 11 years or whatever, 10 years. So it's just boring. Then the PvP, like I said, gunplay feels good. I think the PvP is probably the strong point in terms of the gameplay. Obviously, meta excluded. I think there's some things that need to be tweaked. I don't think the revives should be as generous. You can infinitely revive people, even if they go permanently down. So like you go down and then they shoot your down body, you can be rezzed from that, right? Which is crazy. So I think that should be changed to just doing that once and then that's it. And then if you go down to that state again, it's done. The revives pretty fast in my opinion. I don't like the disparity in, I'm someone who doesn't really like the armor difference in video games. So like if I'm fighting somebody who has a green shield, I'm a purple shield, and we have the same weapon, I'm gonna shred him, and like, you know, we're equally skilled or whatever, I'll shred the shit out of him just because I have a higher level shield. I've never liked content or game that type of system in games. That's why I think I don't like Apex Legends as much, and why I kind of like Fortnite, because everyone gets the same type of shield. In terms of that, in Fortnite, I'm not a big Fortnite fan, but that's what I like about their system. It's the same shield for everyone as long as you find that. But I understand why it's a thing. You need something else to chase, and it feels good and rewarding when you have high level gear, that type of thing. I just wish that is the part of the issue with extraction shooters is it's gear. You can be very geared and get lucky, or you can be unlucky or just not as skilled and you just get waffle stomped by everyone. So then that's just why I don't think extraction shooters are very good. It doesn't have a lot of time an equal playing field. Though that, I mean, I freely admit that's a skill issue for the most part. I just don't like playing them, so I don't practice at all. Yeah, so I just don't see the PvP aspects of this game carrying the game because looting up is so boring, right? I don't see why people would stay in this game purely for the PvP. They could just go play a PvP dedicated game, right? Like and a lot of times, like, all they're really missing out on is the stellar gunplay, right? So yeah, that's kind of my opinion on everything. I just don't think Bungie knows what the fuck they're doing. They fumbled Destiny, they fumbled Marathon. I'd love to be wrong. Like, I'd love for the Marathon update to come out and it's like the best thing ever. I'd love the Destiny update to come out and it revives the fucking game. But that's unrealistic. We know by now that is not how Bungie operates. They do not make quality content anymore. And I mean, that's harsh to say, but it's true. I mean, you can see it in everything, right? They make bizarre updates. They go radio silent for months. They abandon one of their games for another game that does subpar. So, yep, that's really it. All I wanted to say. I'm going to have a more dedicated video on both Destiny and Marathon in the coming months, probably coming weeks, and kind of talk about each game separately and what they do right, what they do wrong, systems, that type of thing, just to get a full broad kind of like look at everything. But I just kind of wanted to go over my opinion on everything and just kind of where I'm at with the things and explain from what I understand is the issue. So yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys agree with me. If you don't, that's okay. I'd love to talk about it in the comments below. And yeah, I will see you in the next videos. One last thing, in terms of actual new content I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be experimenting with some other games that I like playing and just kind of seeing if people like it. So yeah, that's it. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.